Welcome back to Simple Truth. We are in the book of 1 Samuel. We're in chapter 17. We are nearing the end of the story of David and Goliath. We've talked about all kinds of different things, trying to pull out some simple truths of this story. And we're on verse 48. So we finished up in verses 46, 47 last week with David's response to Goliath's talking. Right, and again, now we're into the very, very, very short battle scene. So this is really funny. It's 47 verses of buildup, and on verse 48, it takes about one or two verses in order to get the battle over with. Right, and that's how it works with God. Right, there's so much blow up. There's so much stuff on the front side. There's so much worry and fear and frustration and disappointment and discouragement and all the things, right? And then we get to the actual battle moment, and it's amazing to me how many times the build up, right, doesn't live up to all the hype once we get to the actual battle. Right? We're fearing a conversation with a person and it goes way better than planned. We're fearing a doctor's visit. We're fearing a financial thing. We're fearing all kinds of things, and we're playing it over and over in our mind, and we're doing all kinds of things to make it way bigger than it actually is. And then we get to the battle, and God just kind of takes over, right? Again, there's no human way that this young man, even if David was 6'5", 6'4", 6'2", 6 foot, even if he was that tall, you're talking about a giant that's over 9 feet tall. Right? So again, there's no human way that this battle goes well. But notice, we've talked about it over and over, David's confidence in God, David's confidence in what God has for him. So maybe today you're facing that same battle, right? There's just no way, there's no physical possible way, right, that you're going to be able to win this battle. They just announced, right, that you're going to be laid off from work. They just announced that you got stage 4 cancer. They just announced, right, that you're going to be losing a relationship. They just announced, right, that somehow emotionally, right, you are detached from the good things of the world, right, or whatever that reason. Like maybe one of your kids just announced something, and all of a sudden the battle looks like there's no way that you're going to win it. God says, don't put your confidence in men. That includes, by the way, yourself. Put your confidence, put your trust, put your hope in the one that never loses. Right? That's an amazing thing. Do you know that God has a 100% win track record? Why would we not put our hope in him? So verse 48 says the following: When the Philistine, that's Goliath, arose, and he came, and he drew near to meet David. Right, so we got now this Goliath. He's done listening to David. David's just, spewed off and might have said something like, hey, listen, God's going to give me the victory here, and I'm going to cut off your head, and I'm going to feed your body and the rest of the Philistines' bodies to the birds of the air. He might have said something like that, right? And again, that's a pretty bold statement, right? And so you can see the whole scene here, right? This whole thing was set up that our best fights your best, and whoever wins, the others will be subdued, right? Will give over themselves like as servants, right? That's the whole point here. And so you can see the Philistine mountainside, all screaming and shouting and cheering because they know how this ends. They've seen it end before. They have a demonic giant, right, who's fighting on their side. Right? And for 40 days, he's come out, and for 40 days, he's boasted about how he's going to kick their butts, right? The Israelites, and how their God is nothing, right? And again, that's not Goliath, by the way, talking. That's the enemy of your soul, my soul, the enemy of God talking through Goliath, right? And the funny part is, we've talked about this before. That enemy knows he's about ready to die. He's making the boast anyway. He's making the claims anyway because he is sure that about halfway to him, if you get that far, you're going to look at the reality of something and you're going to run away. Right? He knows he's dead before he even made all the claims. Before he even said a word, he knew what was going to happen here if somebody was just bold enough to say, yeah, no, I think we'll do it God's way. And that works the same way today. The enemy's just trying to scare you, right, into running away, into not following God. So he does all the words. David's response in all the words is, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And so then Goliath goes to part 2. Part 1, use all kinds of words to scare you. Part 2, I'm going to come at you. Now imagine a 9-foot giant running towards you. I hope that you realize that probably the ground shakes a little bit, right? As he gets closer, you can probably feel him, not just hear him and see him. You can probably feel him coming at you. And the enemy loves that. He loves all those senses coming together. And you can see him coming at you. And you can hear him coming at you. And you can feel him coming at you. And so what's he hoping? He's hoping that you run the other way. He's hoping that he can scare you into leaving all the weapons God's given you, all the things that God has resourced you with to fight this battle, and just run away and hide. You know why he does that? Because we know later on in history, he tries that exact same thing with Elijah. And you know what? It works with Elijah. Elijah runs away. A little threat from the enemy, and Elijah hightails it out of there. Right? But in this story, we get the sense of what happens when somebody actually believes that God might show up and work. Hey, I'm going to leave it right there. We'll pick it up again in verse 48 next week as we pull out some more simple truths.